Howdy, howdy, y'all. It is another I Am That episode, chapter 76. To know that you do not know is true knowledge. And yes, once again, outside. Yay! Like, love being outside for these. Anyways, let's get to it. This one is very dense. It's a very, very, very dense chapter. It's a lot of back and forth, a lot of just, and there's a lot of just, I don't want to say jargon, but I mean, because I enjoy it. I like these sort of chapters. This questioner certainly is not ignorant by any stretch. Probably further along than me for dang sure, or at least about the same. And it's hard to say that with it's not really about progression. It's more just about when it happens, it happens. Point being, like, this guy's very good. This guy's very knowledgeable. This questioner's a wise person. They're not ignorant by any stretch, but I think that's part of it, right? For especially very knowledgeable people, it could be very. That's part of the issue is forgetting your own ignorance. You forget your own ignorance sometimes. Although, generally speaking, what does seem to happen, at least from a psychological point of view, is the idea is really that it's less intelligent people that quote unquote less intelligent people, less smart people, however you want to put it, people with lower IQs, whatever. They generally have, yeah, the Dunning Kruger effect or whatever it's called, where they just don't know how ignorant they are, because really, yeah, a lot of times smart people. Although the problem is, smart people can also just get too wrapped up. Because sometimes smart people can end up being the sort where, like, they think, like, because they're probably really smart in one thing, but they end up thinking they're that smart in all the things, when it's like, no, you're just kind of like this really smart maybe in this one particular niche area. Because that's like how like, that's how, because the human mind, we can only know so much as is. And even towards the end, um Nisargadatta Maharaj, the questioner asks him, hey, how do we end ignorance? And he's like, why do we need to even end it? Like, for him, ending ignorance isn't the issue. Yeah, it says, questioner, will ignorance ever end? Maharaj, what is wrong with not knowing? You need not know all. Enough to know what you need to know. The rest can look after itself, without your knowing how it does it. What is important is that your unconscious does not work against the conscious, that there is an integration on all levels. To know is. Sorry, I gotta turn this page here, and this page does not want to turn. To know is not so very important. So, like he says, like he's saying, like, it's not, you just need to know what you need to know. I mean, there is going to be things you need to know, and so it's not like there's a disadvantage in knowing as much as you can, for sure, but, like, it's okay not to know everything. As long as, yeah, there's an understanding on all these levels. So I really like that. There's that, and this whole chapter, like I say, it's actually just really, like I said, very dense. But a lot of it is pretty, shouldn't be really new. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't be very new, especially if you've been following along with the chapters and stuff, or if you're really even deep into Hindu traditions and stuff. Like, it's pretty, from my understanding of it all, at least, this seems pretty. I don't want to say basic. That implies it's not important. It's very fundamental, like pillar stuff, I would say, of the tradition. The question even asks, even says, the Hindu tradition says that suffering is brought by destiny, and this destiny is merited. Look at the immense calamities, natural, man-made, floods and earthquakes, wars and revolutions. Can we dare to think that each suffers for his own sins, of which he can have no idea? The billions who suffer, are they all criminals justly punished? The Maharaj responds, must one suffer only for one's own sins? Are we really separate? In this vast ocean of life, we suffer for the sins of others and make others suffer for our sins. Of course, the law of balance rules supreme and accounts are squared in the end. But while life lasts, we affect each other deeply. So it's this very interesting acknowledgement that on one level, yeah, life is just going to impact you. You're just going to people are going to do their things, and those things are going to impact you. It's just a matter, and for me, the way I take this is that at the end, though, the way I would say, and I think he agrees with this essentially, is that you just gotta kind of go with it and find your way of working it out. Um, so we just have to, as it is. Um, what creates destiny? This is another interesting question the questioner asked. What creates destiny? Maharaj, ignorance is the cause of inevitability. Questioner, ignorance of what? Maharaj, ignorance of yourself primarily. Also, ignorance of the true thing of true nature of things, of their causes and effects. You look round without understanding and take appearances for reality. You believe you know the world and yourself, but it is only your ignorance that makes you say, I know. Begin with the admission that you do not know and start from there. There is nothing that can help the world more than your putting an end to ignorance. Then you need not do anything in particular to help the world. Your very being is a help, action or no action. So just being someone who understands that you are ignorant, that you are that's for and by the way, I would say that's just the definition of wisdom. That's the basic definition of wisdom is the understanding of one's ignorance. Once you're just such a being, and you can say such a being that perfectly understands this is what one might call self-realized, enlightened, blah blah blah. Once you are that state, you are already a help to the world. You are already a great service, which makes sense. I think that makes sense. I think that's probably why a lot of times the world isn't just like isn't complete calamity and just hasn't a complete apocalypse. Sometimes it's just maybe the the small little influence of an enlightened person or enlightened beings here and there that help course that way, so we don't have to worry about such things, or that such things don't happen. At least we're still going to worry anyways because we don't fully realize we still have the body identification because we still have the ignorance and which feeds the desires, which he talks about that explicitly in here, that how the desires and ignorance kind of like feed into each other, and there's like this endless cycle, and that's what liberation is you're shackling away from all that. So like I say, nothing too crazy, but it's really good. It's a really good chapter. I think I don't want to just go because I could just go into like quoting everything, and I don't necessarily want to try to do that. So I it's it's hard for me to even begin. So I almost have to just say this is just a really really good chapter. I highly recommend it, and it's another perfect reason. Also 420, which is funny. This, this is for my book, at least for my edition. It's chapter 420. Page 420 is during this chapter, which is haha funny. But anyways, I think I will end it with one last bit, one last like the ending back and forth. The questioner. So because the questioner even asked, even the blind powers of nature, in terms of like all this. So like just in terms of he just refers to like that the suffering and everything, even the blind, you know, powers of nature. Like what role does what does that play? And here's Maharaj's response, which I find very interesting. He says there are no blind powers. Consciousness is power. Be aware of what needs to be done, and it will be done. Only keep alert and quiet. Once you reach your destination and know your real nature, your existence becomes a blessing to all. You may not know or will the world know, yet the help radiates. There are people in the world who do more good than all the statesmen and philanthropists put together. They radiate light and peace with no intention or knowledge. When others tell them about the miracles they work, they also wonder they are also wonderstruck. Yet, taking nothing as their own, they are neither proud nor do they crave for reputation. They are just unable to desire anything for themselves, not even the joy of helping others. Knowing that God is good, they are at peace. So, I think on that note, Hare Krishna, Namaste, and I gotta say, once again, this is a fabulous, fabulous chapter. And it's just another reason y'all gotta get this book and read it. Anyways, peace.